Hey there everyone, this is Raoke. I'm doing a Patreon video, and it's spring. There's like almost no snow outside. It's kind of great. So for the art request part, I'm finally at like the second or third one I ever got ever, which is the deliciously vague thing of something in space. I suppose it can be anything in space, right? As long as it's in space, right? So, whoa, what was that? Oh, I see. It's because it's not a wrong color. Ah, that explains everything. Hey there, everyone, this is Raocow. If you had to choose one of the seven deadly sins that most represents you, which would you choose? Lust, greed, gluttony, sloth, wrath, envy, or pride? Signed Japio. Sloth. It's sloth. It's sloth. One of my favorite thing to do, like if I am being tasked with just, relax or something, I like to just do nothing. Of course, it's not literally nothing, like there's a lot of brain activity when I do nothing, but to me, a vacation is an opportunity to not do anything. And to me, that is a super great, good time, awesome tastic, I mean, that kind of says a lot, I believe. And that's where I stand. I suppose, it's always bad when we can define ourselves somewhat easily with, with the bad thing. But that was what the question asked me to do. So, it's if I were to describe myself otherwise, I wouldn't necessarily veer into negativeness. But I had to. It's part of the. I gotta answer these questions, man. I don't even know why. It just keeps happening. Nobody will ever be able to pronounce my name. Since you're nobody, here's a quick guide. 3 syllables. Russ, like us with R. Bow, like bow and arrow. Jizz, like jazz with an I instead. Jizz, okay, yeah. Okay. Also, get good at drawing with a mouse. Hell, I do all of my art with a laptop touchpad. Even though it's still bad. Question. What is your favorite type of pasta? I need to know so I can bathe in it so my scent will attract you. Russ Bojiz. I'm gonna forget that very quickly. Favorite kind of pasta is those tube kinds. I'm terrible at names, so let's take a little break from Space Town, and let's see here. Let's see here. Tube pasta. What do they call? Yeah, those things. Those things. Okay. Those things that are not currently on. Okay, so let's see here. Pasta shapes. Yeah, no, I think so. Let me just go down the list. Those are super good, like cavatappi. Those are super good. Farfalle, super good. Farfaline, awesome, tastic. Fusilli, any day of the week. I'd eat those all the time. Penne, those are pretty alright. Well, I don't think I ever had any radiatori. Oh, because they look like radiators! That is so stupid. Ryuti, wagon wheels are pretty good. That's it! No, that's it. Tagliatelle. Those are amazing. I would eat those probably every day, except I would get tired of it eventually and would lose out of their magic because I think I like them because I don't eat them actually that often. But, if you want to bathe, buy a lot of those. And, I don't know what you got a big bathtub? That might be required because, well, I don't know, because like if you want to bathe your entire body in it, well, I suppose you can like fit your entire body in a bath. I guess most people can fit in fact, I can fit my entire body in a. Why was I thinking that bathtubs were tiny for a moment? Not sure. Brain, come on, dude. This is the second question. Okay, so you get the chance to remove 5 people from that's rude from history. You can't decline. That's super rude. They can be obvious choices like mass murderers or criminals or whatever. No Hitler, Stalin, etc. Who do you remove? Horikawa Tane. 5 people from history? Well, I don't even remember copy and pasting that question in my text file. You hack my computer, Horikawa Atane. That's super rude. Why would I remove 5 person from history? Like, who do I remove here? Like, what? I don't know. I guess because I want to mitigate change as much as possible, make sure that things remain relatively constant. I'll go with. I really don't know. Let's see. Okay, and they can be super evil people, but can they be mean people? Huh? 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 How about that? Let's see. Just go. So like, I can't go like, I know Pol Pot because he's in the same as Hitler and Stalin category. Man, five is also a huge number. Like, you're aware of this, right? Okay. Well, I can go with people that are not evil, but kind of a pain, right? So I'm gonna go with Ulysses Grant, Ayn Rand, because could do with less libertarians, I suppose. That's 2. I need 3 more. That guy. No, that king. That's kind of that was super inbred and was super sick. What was his name? It was one of the Sun King. Let's see here. Today. Was it this guy? I forget. That doesn't look to be him. Well, it's a guy, was super inbred and super sickly. Like, he was more inbred. Because he was king of France and was so inbred, he was basically had more chromosome within his body that were similar than the child that results from, like, a brother and sister union. Like, I'd remove him just as a sort of peace. Like, he must not have been a happy guy. Like, so, okay, let's go with that guy. I think I'm at 3. Gotta remove from history 2 other people. Who's left? Who's left in history? I think there were only 3 people in the entirety of it. Man. Whoa, okay, I see what happened here. 2. What's up with all these weird, tough questions now? I'm not a fan of people who speak with long pauses between the names. I know it's like what? I don't know. Can't do that. Like, that's just kind of pithy. You know what? I would be curious. Let's remove Walt Disney and see what happened to the modern copyright world. If Disney Corporation never was a thing that utterly destroyed copyright laws. Okay? 3, 2, 1. There we go. Actually, my ability there did not work, so I don't know what it looks like. We're down to. We need to find 1 extra guy. Man. And, just 1 random peasant somewhere in Holland in the 1600s and see if chaos theory is true and it ends up completely changing how we experience time and space completely. If a bajillion people vote for Demo to be in Smash the 4, and Sakurai relents and says okay, would you agree? And what would be her moveset? Fusion Warrior. Well, of course I would be okay with that. I'd be silly to say no to that. As impossible as might be. What would be her moveset, though? I'm not really sure. What's interesting is that, her attacks would probably be an array of kicks, so at the very least she'd be really interesting to see, but, like, in movement and stuff. But, I don't know, like, man, on the fly, like, just B attack would be a fireball of some kind. I would probably, make it so that, to differentiate it, like, maybe some sort of, like, in order to play on the, on how in Smebex we can aim up and down a fireball. Like basically, if you tilt after you press the B real quick, you can like aim it more down or more up. You know, basically have more of an aiming capability with it. I think that'd be pretty cool. Her forward would be let's see here. I gotta think, and it's difficult to think because thinking implies, having electrical discharges go on in my brain, and that's a pretty scary thought. And I don't like things that are too scary, unfortunately, because they're all scared. They're like, boo, boo, boo. I'm super scary and I'm a bear. Oh no! Her forward would be a thing where she spins around in circle. Okay, so yeah, maybe like it's sort of like if she was to swing around with a raccoon tail, but without any appendages, and it could be like basically would do little damage, but it would stun, something like that. So like a stun spin, I think that would be pretty okay. Up would be let's see here. Would be when you press up on the joystick and the special attack button, it would make her up move. I know, right? It's like, what? Since that's impossible to fathom, and it's like, I know, right? So I think it would be funny if she would just fling a fish. It's just that, okay, yeah, let's go with that. Like, she would fling a fish, so like her up wouldn't be an escape thing, but would probably more her down. Her down, I think it would be fun to integrate her ability to turn into a mushroom, like with the Marissa suit. So, like from the ground, I know, like yeah, from the ground, she would turn basically into a mushroom and just be invincible. Well, actually, like it could be a counter, while in the air it wouldn't counter, would make her drop Bowser style. I just don't know if that would be too powerful since it incorporates the property of Two Moon. But maybe it would work if you considered that, like, I don't know, like she would just get a triple jump instead of an actual comeback attack. Maybe that would work. I'm not too sure here. Final Smash, though, would totally be the Super B Demo 128. Like, that has to be her final smash. It's her actual power is the power to respawn. That's why she's such a great protagonist, and that she uses her special power in full force when that happens. You can't say no to that, right? Man, this is getting already like 13 minutes almost, and we barely did anything. Actually, more serious question though. If you could have any superpower, what would you want it to be? Bariel. Something as a nerd I've often thought about, and I believe that what I would be most happy with is some form of time manipulation. Like, there's a lot of powers out there that looks pretty fun and cool, but I just think that gives you the most amount of let with it. Like, if you got all the time in the world to have to think about what you want to do, and then just stop things in their track, then let you just do whatever that needs to be done, that would be super great. Of course, that time stop has a lot of weird physical nonsense attached to it, but assuming that it would let me operate normally, like air would still work normally around me, and I wouldn't destroy my feet by stepping on a blade of grass that won't move because time and stop and all that. Like, assuming all of those bugs are worked out, I think it'd be super cool gravy sauce place. Yes. What's your least and most favorite words? Micklefire. I don't get that often. Pumpernickel still is my favorite because it's so ridiculous. Least? I don't know. Homage? Because in English it's impossible for my brain to figure it out, so let's go with that. What is one of your most loved gimmick and Smebec Smoo levels? Mathieu Fournier. Most loved gimmick. That's kind of a hard one. A lot of these questions, like, we have very internalized the things I don't like. But I'll admit it's kind of hard to pinpoint what I actually do like, isn't it? Man. That's a pretty good... I'm trying to think here. Like, what's something that, like, honestly, because what I like are levels that, just solid platforming levels, and any gimmick that doesn't impede platforming but enhances it in some way will always strike me as good and great. Also, well, like we all know, I like minimalistic tile set and appearances, though I don't know if that counts. But otherwise, just anything that would facilitate quick, fun platforming. Um, I'm aware this is really vague, though, but on the spot, I can't really explain it better than that. Do you and the Cortex group ever plan to do more RPG stuff in the future and any other collabs in general? They're quickly become some of my most looked forward to videos, and I'd love it if you guys continue to do stuff like this together. Also, do any of those peeps have their own LP channels or produce content or anything? I would definitely follow or subscribe to them. Whoopar. No, Ditto, Sturg, Cats, and Horikawa, I don't believe have any channels going on for LPs or whatnot, at least not that I'm aware of, unless they never told me, which I suppose is not impossible. However, we have no plans on stopping. I'm not sure how long the Cortex thing will go. And I mean that as in I literally have no idea how long the story is. I never actually asked Horikawa, and even then, we took many sessions just to get past our first quote-unquote quest. And I don't think, like, in the uploaded videos, like, we haven't even gone that far yet, so it's probably gonna last a while. And once it's done, I'm fairly confident that we're probably gonna continue in some form. Maybe not entirely with the same, staff, so to speak. Because I can't predict what the future holds and all that, but it's gonna something in some capacity is gonna continue. At the very least, that's my wish, because it's actually super fun, and Horikawa is great at making ringing the campaign and all that. I know it's just in general going pretty good, and I'm glad that you enjoy it. When we started, we weren't expecting it like. Of course, it's not the most super popular thing, but we didn't really expect any sort of anything. And, but yeah, some peeps have been really enjoying them, and that is super fun. Happy for us to learn that. And thank you for listening in on our sheer incompetence ruining everything in the form of progress ever. You do our best. Your patrons are currently giving you an average of $3.69 per month each. If you are going to give $3.69 every month to an internet personality, who would it be, Matt? That's a good question. Going strictly by people will essentially make a living off of the internet. I'm torn between either Kyle, who does Owen Citizen, who does review of art film, and Phalis, who does a review of nerd stuff. But I just really like his humor. Kind of torn between the two of them, so I would just split that $3 in twine, $1.50 each. No, that seems fair, right? I'm allowed to do it. It's my money. I can do whatever I want with it. What's your favorite video game Easter egg that you managed to discover by yourself, as in you didn't see a tutorial video or otherwise hear how to obtain it? Maiku Odaharu. That's hard to answer. An Easter egg that I would have found on my own. Man, that's hard to... Because I got to go through a lifetime of video game brainland here. You know what? I always thought it was funny that there's, in Donkey Kong Country 2, when you beat the game and you get to that place, like with the award place, and there's Earthworm Jim's gun there. And I always thought it was kind of funny because, like, it kind of validates in a weird way Earthworm Jim, and that you don't really hear about that anymore because It just did not survive transition to 3D at all. It's this weird little like tidbit, you know, this weird little thing that sort of like wrinkle of the 90s that I don't know, to me is I don't have any idea what I mean to say. And I mean, technically it counts as, like, it's a weird little reference thing, so it counts as an Easter egg. Otherwise, I would go by the super weird cutscene you can unlock on the title screen of Mario Paint. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. You gotta click on one of the letters, and the weird chanting goes on with a super, like, simple stick figure animation goes on, and that always fascinated me in a weird, creepy way. I think it's super cool, neat. I like the internet browsing. More internet by Wheeler. Well, yes, the internet is pretty cool. I'm glad we agree. Who will you vote for in the election? Hiram McDaniels was a literal five-headed dragon, the faceless old woman who lives in your home, or Marcus Benson, who is now a creature resembling an angel and cannot be legally thought about. Be kamikaze. I'm probably gonna go to the vote spot and basically nullify my vote by putting down all of them or putting down a person we never heard of because I know they're not gonna win. I am not an avid follower of politics, and like voting for the sake of voting is stupid because you can in theory cause a lot more damage just out of sheer ignorance than if you were doing nothing. However, I don't want my country to think I'm apolitical or anything. It's basically that there's no winner right now. Like, I don't keep very in touch with politics, as I just said, but this is mostly because it feels like no matter what you vote for, it all basically ends up being the same. Like, the vote is not meaningful enough, at least not in Canada. At least it doesn't feel like. And because I'd rather not choose between different evils, that's why I kind of like nullify my vote. My vote. And I go there and I nullify it because I don't, like I said, I don't want them to think I'm just being apathetical. It's just that I feel it is pointless, and I know it's stupid to say that I hope they get the message because they won't, but the feeling is there, and at the very least, you know, it gives me the right to complain that everything doesn't work because I voted. Because if you don't vote, then you don't have a right to complain. That's how it works. It's in the rules. I have a kind of terrible, macabre question, so feel free to skip. If you were to pass away while your LP career is still ongoing, would the views, I assume you mean viewer, ever officially find out? Also, do you prefer printed t-shirts or plain? Alan Lalonde. Actually, fun fact is that if I were to be dead in some fashion, my buddy AOD has been given basically access to my channel with the explicit task of letting y'all know through a message of some kind. You know, just I kind of let him do it that way, but that's it's not really a contingency plan, but as a way to let you guys know. Basically, if he has no news of me for X amount of time, he has these instructions just, you know, to let you guys know something is amiss, just so that at the very least there's nothing, like, there's no ambiguity. You know, that's kind of like what we want to avoid here, because ambiguity sucks. It's terrible. But don't worry, I've got things in motion just in case. Of course, you know, we all know that the plan is to keep doing this until I'm 80 years old, and like, once full-on senility strikes, now that's when my commentary is really gonna shine. Till then, just gotta go with this weirdo false version. But practice makes perfect, as they all say. Also, I prefer plain t-shirts. Thank you. Not sure if you've ever mentioned this before, but do you add friends for something like Smash 4? I know you're busy a lot, me too with work, but even if it were a once-in-a-lifetime deal, it would be cool to get a chance to battle with you. If so, my name on the Wii U is, I don't know if you want me to tell you. If not, I understand, and if there are any other Smashers here, let me know and I'd be happy to add you back too. I also have 3DS if anyone wants to share friend codes. Shameless petitioning for friends complete! Pingu Penguinson. I wouldn't mind adding y'all, but be aware that I play somewhat very little. So, like, I don't, like, my Wii U is not open very often, so, like, it happened where I had a friend request language there for a while, and I wasn't even aware of it. That's another thing, too. I'm not super duper aware on how all the social functions on it work. So sometimes things go through and I don't really realize it. But like, I don't play it all that often at the same time, so I don't know. I don't have any problems with adding any of you if you guys can figure out my name on Nintendo Network, which is super easy to figure out. 3 hints, you know what it is already. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, I'm not against the idea. It's just that I can't promise anything ever result from it, basically. Do you have a favorite character trope? For me, it's cyborgs. Adam C. That's an interesting question. I like characters who have a billion infinite amount of monies and are super jerks about it. I just think that tends to be pretty funny. If it's written very well, of course, that is an important part. It has to be written well, but I think that's probably it, because I think those tend to be, like, there's a lot of interesting places you can go with that. So there you go, that was a lot easier to answer than I thought it'd have to be. Thank you for that happening somehow. Man, we're about halfway through-ish. We're at, like, almost half an hour. So let's see how fast this goes. Multiple questions. 1. If you could be a Pokemon gym leader, what type would you want to use? This is my excuse to tell you how much I agree with the fact that you like nature elements in games. Grass type is best type. 2. Good thing I have to strike your leg, because that's the height I'm at anyway. Oh ho! Fariel. I don't know, like, is it too easy to say I'd probably be plant type? Are there dual Pokemon gyms by now? Because plant psychic would be pretty rad. Or plant ground. Maybe ground Pokemon gym would be interesting. Does that exist yet? If it doesn't exist, I'd do that. So I could get the Cubone going on, a Marowak action going on. Otherwise, plant probably, because I'm super original. 2 Qs! Would you consider revisiting Ryza Challenge without tools or without tools? What? 2. How much do you enjoy answering questions for the Patreon? Answer on a scale or 0-10, or you can articulate more if you want. Salty Ebbs. Yeah, I would like to revisit Ryza Challenge. Of course, my revisiting right now is like the emphasis is placed on the VIPs. Ryza Challenge, though, is something I would like to do. Like, wasn't it remastered or something not long ago or something? And by not long ago, I mean, like, within the last 2 years or so. Because if so, that would be worth it. And I'd be interested in playing that without tools. Although, man, that was probably going to be real hard in parts, because some parts are really dumb. I remember that. I don't know if I'm better or good than I was back then, too, is the thing. But I think it's worth it. And I love answering these. I'm always concerned by how long as a video it always ends up being. It's fun because sometimes you make me think about things a lot more than I would otherwise think about. As y'all probably aware, I tend to be kind of a happy-go-lucky type of personality, right? So I don't really think about it all that much. Like, I just, yeah, something feels right, so I feel this way. That's about it, but then I never really force myself to elaborate on it. And often you guys, well, force me to elaborate and think about it, and I think that's super awesome. So yeah, Keep those weird, sometimes complicated questions going. I might not always maybe answer them to your taste or with as much depth that you want, but at least I always try to make an effort at the very least. Also, do you actually appreciate having your pronunciation of Japanese words corrected? I know you said you're grateful and people correct your English, but is it different for Japanese because it's not a language you intend to learn? Also, does your Mecha Castle head have a little flag on top? Fario. No, I don't mind, and yes, it does. Since I've already ventured out of pure drawing land, I'd like to see a small thing about your editing process. You could summarize it with a 1-minute example video or something. My plan is, on a week where I don't have as many questions, I'm going to do that. It's just that because, like, right now it wouldn't make sense. I would go relatively in-depth on it, so if there's a week where I don't have a lot of questions, yeah, I'll basically go a little run-through of a basic video editing process. It would take like maybe 5 minutes to go through it, but I want to go through it well, and I don't think I'd give it justice now, but it's something I totally plan on doing. So, yeah. In your own words, describe exactly what is a thing, Shark of the Day. Well, a thing is a concept, or an object, or a person. I've noticed that recent LPs are in HD now, like Smidge Truth Story and Super Meat Boy. Is it going to be a normal thing now, or is it only for Smabex or Steam Games, Felix? They call it a quirk of the Patreon thing. Now that I've got more time, I can now take the time it needs to process the extra dimensions, and also the extra time it takes to upload them on the internet with these extra dimensions. So yeah, it's the plan to keep that going for a while. I'm limiting it to 720 now, just because of my computer mostly. If I ever upgrade my little machine box here, I would look into boosting that up to 1080, but that's a long time going thing. Something to look forward to, perhaps. Also give me an excuse to replay old favorites too. Oh boy! New Patreon. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you're having fun in harder games, especially when you spend a long time on one level. Get really quiet and make your French exclamations. When you follow the level with an explanation of how you feel, it makes me feel better. An unhappy Raocow isn't fun, but with harder games, it's not as easy to tell if it's unhappy cow or a concentration cow. Oh, right, question. You mentioned translation in this video. What are common translation for Raocow swears? Nate Ball. Well, let's see here. Merde is an easy one, because it's very close to mierda. It's poop. Tabarnak is another famous one. It's basically the main swear, so to speak, in Quebec French. It has the same strength, quote-unquote, as fuck, except it means it's a completely religious thing. It's a tabernacle. It's like that table in a church. Like that, that's all it is. Jesus Christ, like, again, it's very religious-centered. Smanak, I don't know what that means. Actually, I know it's a religious thing, but I don't know what exactly. Let's find out. Let's go on the internet and find out. What does Simonak mean? Let's see here. Okay, am I not writing it good? Maybe. Oh, there it is. Don't use a Y. Okay, let's see. This one isn't French. No, that's not actually. Okay, there we go. That's Wiktionary. Don't say. Come on, man. Help me out. Yeah, I know. Oh, wow. So here it says etymology. They don't know. They don't know where it's coming from. So it's just, I guess, some weird little exclamation of anger and just being kind of, okay, but it might derive from Simoniac. Simonia. Oh, that does this. Simonism. What that mean? Okay, and simony is basically the traffic of spiritual objects, ecclesiastic indies, and sacramental graces for money. Huh. Okay, so basically selling spiritual stuff for money. I'm learning things here. That's kind of funny. So there you go. There's a bit of them. Like, it's basically the equivalent of saying shit, maybe in English. It's just, it's not the same words, but it's more or less the equivalent in terms of strength, if you want. Oh man, swears! There's all being said, just kind of like blazingly in English. Also, might as well take time, like, in real life, like, if you know me in real life, I'm kind of a habitual swearer, which might be a surprise if you watch my videos. I make it a point in my videos not to swear, not because I'm afraid to swear. Oh no, because I swear for real. It's just that by not swearing, it forces me, one, to be more clear in what I'm trying to express. Because like swearing, you're being angry, like, oh fuck this, poop, shit, crap, fart. It's like, it's easy, but it doesn't explain anything. It's easy, but it doesn't actually say anything. It forces me to articulate my thoughts more and also be more creative with my verbiage, which I believe is a lot more entertaining. At least in my opinion. You're free to disagree, I guess, but I think so. Fart. Any chance we'll see more one-off bootleg LPs? I've always found those really charming. Yeah, I'm not against the idea, I just really haven't thought about it. I'll try to keep that in mind for sure. I probably still have bookmarked the site where I got the other ones in, or otherwise I can probably find them again. So yeah, I'll keep that in mind as a between project thing, or like a time wasting thing or something. What game are you going to play after Super Meat Boy? Semicolon, close parentheses, Miko Fire. I know why you asked this, because you bought me a Shovel Knight on Steam. Well, guess what? Shovel Knight was the most highly voted Patreon vote of non-Super Mario games. After Meat Boy, it's gonna be something different that you guys don't know because it's a game that as of now is unreleased. But after that is done, consider this an exclusive. I'm gonna do Shovel Knight. Little Nightman, blue armor with the weapon on his hand. Gonna make Mega Man jokes the whole run through, don't worry. What's the Chinese zodiac sign? And if you had to pick a sport to watch on TV, what would it be? Rex Meridia. I forget if I'm a rabbit or a pig. I think I'm a pig. I think. Born in 83. If anyone knows more than that about this, I think that's a... Let's check. Chinese Zodiac 1983. You're the pig! Yeah, I'm a piggy. I go oink, 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 and I bathe in mud because my skin is sensitive and it basically gets bugs out of me. That's pretty great. And I like racing episodes and shows and whatnot, so if I was forced to watch sports for some reason, I'd probably watch some kind of race going on, probably. I don't know. It's a weird thing to be forced to do. Old school bootleg games. Would you give them a shot? Yes. Also, what tabletop games have you played aside from Cortex? Peter Forbes. Last questions I got. And unfortunately, I don't really have anything to answer. Like, I played normal board games that everyone has played, like Risk and Monopoly and Scrabbles. Played Munchkin once ever. That probably sums up my experience. I played very briefly Dungeons and Dragons to fill up a spot in the past for like a short amount of time. And that honestly kind of sums up. I'm not, when you grow up from a nerdling thing into a full-on grown adult tree, you go up certain branches, right? And tabletop game, for some reason, always escaped me on was more about a consumption of visual media, nerd comic stuff sometimes, and video games. That's where I went. I was more secluded. I did not have a huge circle of friends, and usually, if you're way into tabletop games, that's because you got a good, sizable herd of nerd, and I didn't get that. I had my one best friend buddy nerding out in our own little corner of the universe. And that's about it. Sure.